Five Nights at Freddy's has always been a game about details, hidden details in plain sight, little clues that pull you closer to the story. Some clues are more important than others. I'm looking at you, Fazgoo. But recently, I've came across a detail that shocked me. A detail sitting in front of us for 11 years, and no one has talked about it. A detail that unlocks the exact weeks the original FNaF games take place in. That detail is Friday the 13th. No, Jason Voorhees wasn't secretly the phone guy, but this unlucky date, the staple of horror, is actually the key to solving when the original FNaF games take place, in a way that finally makes sense. We all know Matt Pat's early theory. Scott used real minimum wage values to hint at the year. It's one of the foundational pieces of early FNaF lore. What if we actually build on the idea that Scott used minimum wage from the early 90s? Something surprising happens. We can pinpoint the exact year FNaF 1 takes place. And no, it's not 1993. When you beat Night 6, the paycheck shows the date 11/13/XX, November 13th. If you pull up real calendars from 1990 to 1995, only one of those years has a November 13th fall on a Friday. 1992. This fits perfectly. A young Scott Cawthon hiding a spooky little Easter egg by making the final paycheck of FNaF 1 land on Friday the 13th, a date synonymous with bad luck, horror, and superstition. It matches the atmosphere of the game flawlessly. But then, I noticed something else. FNaF 2's Night 6 also lands on Friday the 13th, 11/13/1987. Once is cool, a fun little detail for the observant fan. Twice? No, that's intentional design. Scott didn't just randomly throw 11/13 onto a paycheck. He used a specific date, Friday the 13th, across two games. That means this is a pattern, not an accident, and if it's a pattern, then we can use it to solve the rest of the timeline, which brings us to FNaF 3. For years, fans have argued endlessly about when FNaF 3 actually takes place. We only knew one thing for sure: 30 years after Freddy Fazbear's closed. And that's where things get messy. For me, 2 years stand out: 2015 and 2022. Let's break them down. 2015 was 30 years after 1985, the year of the missing children incident. It also was the real-life release year of FNaF 3. But the most important part is that November 13th, 2015 was a Friday the 13th. So on paper, it looks solid. A clean trilogy. Tragedy in the past leads to redemption in the present. It seems airtight, but there's an issue. 30 years after Freddy Fazbear's closed wouldn't make sense if we're talking about the 1985 location, because it wasn't the last Freddy's. There were more locations afterwards. Freddy's didn't close its doors until 1992, the FNaF 1 location, which means 30 years later is talking about 1992 Freddy's, not the original one. But that would break the perfect November Friday the 13th pattern, until I came to FNaF 4. In the minigames, the crying child walks outside wearing no jacket. There are flowers blooming, kids are playing in bright sunlight, the whole setting radiates warm weather. This is not November, but it could be late spring or even early summer. So I checked. Did 1983, the year shown on the TV in the crying child's house, have a Friday the 13th in a warmer month? And yes, it did. The only one in the year. May 13th, 1983. A Friday the 13th that perfectly matches the environmental clues in FNaF 4. But something still bothered me. So I checked 2022, the other candidate year for FNaF 3. And once again, the year had only one Friday the 13th. May 13th, 2022. And that's when everything finally clicked. The crying child's birthday in FNaF 4 takes place on May 13th, 1983. And Happiest Day, the final minigame of FNaF 3, the one where the souls of the MCI kids are set free, takes place on May 13th, 2022. Nearly 40 years apart, the exact same date is used twice. Once for the boy's tragedy, and once for his redemption. The Night 5 minigames mirror each other visually and contrast emotionally. One ends in death to the left, and the other in forgiveness to the right. And the shared Friday the 13th ties them together flawlessly. If we think of the 4 games in pairs connected by the Friday the 13th they share, we can see a pattern. FNaF 1 mentions the bite of 87. FNaF 2 shows us the bite of 87. We play as the victim, and even though we don't know for certain who the culprit was, we know that we are surviving against them in gameplay. FNaF 3 and FNaF 4 work the same way. FNaF 3 shows us a birthday for a crying ghost child that ends happy and put together. And FNaF 4 shows us a crying child on his birthday that ends terribly and is broken. So who was the child receiving cake on happiest day? It's the crying child in FNaF 4. The same boy who was bitten by Fredbear. Only this time, the birthday is peaceful, gentle, happy. A redeemed version of the day that originally destroyed him. It's poetic. It's tragic. It's Scott Cawthon leveled storytelling. What began as a cool little Easter egg in FNaF 1 and FNaF 2 turned out to be the hidden key that connects every major event in the original saga and allows us to say we know the exact month, day, and year that the original FNaF games take place in. Friday the 13th. Well guys, that concludes my theory. Let me know in the comments if you find any details you disagree with, but that were interesting. And you want to see more videos like this, like and subscribe. It's free, and it lets me know that my content is well received. I'd like to thank everyone who was a part of the video creating process, like my friends and family, as well as you, the viewer, for taking time out of your day and clicking my video. So thank you, and have a great rest of your day.